Hello guys, I am Rohan with you and you are now watching Coda's Logic. In today's session, I am gonna show you some of decision making statements of C programming like simple if else, switch, etc. So without wasting any time, let's do it guys. Guys, before entering this decision making part, we have to know about the T diagram of control statement in C programming. So as you can see in this picture that there are three branches of control statement in C programming and those are decision making, looping and branching. Okay, in my previous videos I have already told you about this looping part means for, while and do while. But in this session I will teach you about this decision making part means under which if else and switch block resides. So firstly we will deal with simple if block. Let's think about a query. Write a program to print hello world whenever the user has given a positive number as an input. Otherwise just print world. So after listening it, we all know that what we have to do. We need a condition checking block, right? So simple if block can do this work properly for you. So let's check this code. I have already written a program using a simple if block for this purpose. And I told you in the query that whenever the user give a integer value that is greater than equals to 0, then only it should print hello world. Otherwise it's just print the world. So for this purpose, according to C programming, at the topmost I have included a header file named sto.h. Later inside the main method I have taken a integer variable named input, and using scanf function I just take its value from user. After that I have taken a if block for condition checking, and inside which I have written input greater than equals to 0 as a condition. So now whenever the condition matches, it prints hello before world, otherwise it just print the world. Let's test it by first compiling it, and you can see that the result is errors 0 warning 0. Now we are going to test it. So after running I just give a positive integer value that is 23. Okay, and after entering, let's see, it shows hello world. Okay, again we'll try with some negative integer value. So I will enter the minus 23. Let's say it's just print the world, no hello before the world. Okay, that means it works properly. Now let's check out the second branch of decision making part, that is if else block. Like previous one, we also learn its implementation using example. So let's think again. Someone has given you a problem that write a program to detect a user given number is positive or not. So in that case, what will you do? After listening the query, I think we all know that what is the purpose of else part in this if else block. Here we need two separate blocks. One for when the condition matches properly and another for when condition doesn't match. So let's check out the code again. In this code, everything is same like previous one. Just I use a separate else block for this case. Because in this time we need to separate block where in one block we just check out number is greater equals to 0 or not. If the condition doesn't match properly, we just need a separate block to run a different block of codes. Okay. If we run this code, then let's see what happens. First, we are going to compile it. Error 0, warning 0. Next, we are going to run it. If I enter number 12, it shows positive number. Okay. Let's try again. If we enter minus 34, let's see what it says. It says it's a negative number. So our code works properly, okay? So I think, hope you understand that why we use here the if else block. So now let's move on to the third branch of the decision making part, that is if else block. It is also be called as if else ladder, okay? So first you have to understand that what is the purpose of this if else block or if else ladder. In previous one, in case of if else block, we see that we need a separate block when the condition doesn't matches properly, okay? So you think when you have to check two or three conditions together, then what will you do? So let's understand it using an example. Think someone has given you a problem that you have to detect a user given number is 0 or greater than 0 or lesser than 0. Then what will you do? So you all know, for in this case we need two different conditions to check. First one, we have to check the number is greater than 0 or not. In the second one, we have to check the number is lesser than 0 or not. If both of these conditions fails, then only the else part will be implemented. So I am trying to mean that if you have more than one conditions to be checked, then write the first conditions inside first bracket after if statement, and rest of the conditions should be written inside first bracket of else if part, and at the end you may need a separate else block to be implemented whenever the upper if and else if blocks will be failed. So in this problem, as a first condition, we need to check the number is greater than 0. In the second condition, we need to check the number is less than 0. If both of these condition fails, that means the number is 0. So let's check out the code I have written. You can see I have tried to keep its structure like earlier. Here in the first condition, I just check that the inputted number is greater than 0 or not. If this condition satisfies, then it will print greater than 0 in the output screen. In the second condition, inside the first bracket of else if part, I just check that inputted number is lesser than 0 or not. If this condition satisfied, then it will print lesser than 0 in the output screen. If these both conditions fails to be satisfied, then the else part will be implemented, and then it prints 0 in the output screen. So let's first compile it and run it. We just give a number. I choose 12. Okay, enter. Let's see, it prints greater than 0. Okay, let's try again. If we enter 0, then let's see what happens. It prints 0. Wow. So it says our code works properly. Hope you understand this if else block well. So let's check out the fourth branch of decision making part, that is switch block. Okay. So switch is a control statement that allows value to change control of execution in C programming. Let's elaborate you that, do you ever call to a customer office number? If yes, then you know that they organize their menu bar according to the digits. Okay, and you have to press the digit according to your required operation. Same task we can perform here also using this switch block. So we will learn its implementation using an example code. But before it, we have to know the generalized syntax of switch block. This is the generalized syntax of switch block. Here you can see the case 1, case 2, case 3. Here if you want to implement the block of statements of case 1, then you have to pass the value 1 inside the variable named option. If you pass the value 2 inside the variable named option, then it will implement the block of statements of case 2. And if you pass any value except this case labels means 1, 2 or 3, then it will, and then the controls goes to the case level default and it will implement the block of statements of this default block. Okay, remember at the end of each case you have to enter the break statement, otherwise the control goes to the next step, next case, and it remains happening until it doesn't reach the break statement of any other case. Okay, so let's check out the example code which I have written. So this is the code. So at first you have to look this portion. Here, like customer care office, I also organize my operation menu bar according to the digits and give an option to the user to choose the required operation out of 4 using the digits. Okay, as I need to perform 4 different operations, so I just created 4 different case labels according to the digits and separate block of statements for each case. Please notice on this line that end of each case I entered break statement. You can see at the end of each case I just entered this break statement, and you can see I kept a separate block for when user entered defined value except these 4 case labels means 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so whenever user entered except the value 1, 2, 3 and 4, then it shows wrong key as a outcome in the output screen. So when the user choose to perform the addition between any two numbers, then he should enter the value 1 inside the variable option. If the value 1 passed to the variable named option, then the control directly goes to the case 1. Okay. If user wants to perform subtraction between two numbers, then he should pass the value 2 inside the variable named option. Then the control directly goes to the case 2. If the user want to perform multiplication between two numbers, then he should enter the 3, and for division he should enter the 4. Okay, so inside case 1 I have written normal block of statements to perform the addition between the two numbers, but here be focused on this line. I just take two inputs at a time using the single statement. You also can take more than one value using a single statement. How? I will show you. Think you have to take 3 float values using a single statement. Then inside scanf method, inside double quotes, we have to first write %f space %f space %f. Okay. Then comma, then ampersand of first variable name, ampersand of second variable name, and lastly comma, ampersand of third variable name. That's how we can take more than one value using a single statement. So here we not needed it, just two we have taken it for addition. Okay, so let's compile it. So it is error and warningless, and now let's run it. Let's see, I just told you to focus on these lines. Enter the value according to the required operation and these lines. So as a user, you can see this in front of you, and you have to choose one out of four operation. Okay, so at first I will go for subtraction, so I enter 2. Okay, and again press enter. So it says to me that we have to enter any two numbers to perform this subtraction operation. So I enter 30 space 10. So let's see what happens. So it shows exactly right answer which I want. Let's try again. Okay, now this time I will go for the multiplication. So I enter 3. After that I have to enter any two numbers to perform this multiplication, and I passed 12 and value 3. Let's see what it shows. This time also it shows the exactly right answer, so our code works properly. Okay, now lastly we have to remember some points regarding this switch case in C programming, so keep focused on that. Okay, first you have to remember that integer and character can be used in switch case, but float is not allowed. Okay, that means you can use integer value or character value as this case labels. Like here I use the integer values as case labels, 1 2 3 4 as case labels. You can choose a b c d as case label also, because they are integers and characters. Okay, but you can choose any float value as this case labels, means you cannot choose 1.5 2.5 or 1.2 3.2 5.25 as this case labels. Okay, so this is the first point you have to remember. Second, all the statements following a matching case execute until a break statement is reached. I will explain what it means. Okay, so in this syntax, generalized syntax of switch block, if I remove this break statement from case 1 and remove this break statement from case 2, okay, and let the remaining as it is. So if I want to perform the block of statements in case 1, so I have to pass the value 1 inside the variable named option, right? So when the control directly shifts to the case 1 and it implements the block of statements in case 1, at the end of this block, if the control doesn't get the break statement, then the control goes to the case 2 and it implements the block of statements in case 2 also. Then at the end of this block also, it cannot get the break statement, so the control next shifts to the case 3 and it implements the block of statements inside case 3, and here at the end of this case the control reach the break statement and it stop its work. So you have to write break statement at end of each case, otherwise the control shifts to the next case until a break statement is reached. Okay, hope you understand. So the third point is the default block can be placed anywhere. Here I placed the default block at the end of the switch case, but you can place this default block at the above of case 1, okay, or any other place. The that will not affect the switch case operation. Fourth point, the statements written above the cases are never executed. Means if I write here printf hello world, then this line will not be executed. Okay, This line will not be executed. And lastly, the fifth point, two case labels cannot have the same value. Means you cannot define two case labels same. Means if I try to write this case 2 as case 1, in time of compilation it will show as an error. So duplicate case labels will not allowed in the switch case. So these are the points to be remembered. You can see it wisely. So that's it. In this session, here we have learned about the decision making part of the control statement, simply block, if else block, if else block, or if else ladder, and lastly about the switch block. That's it. Hope you understand these things well. So until the next video, keep coding and keep learning.